There are 10 commands of the 9 divines in the Elder Scrolls, and that sounds pretty familiar because it's just a play on the 10 commandments of Christianity, really. But I thought they're pretty cool, and I thought we'd take some time to read them today. The first commandment is by Stendarr, to be kind and generous to all, to protect the weak, heal the sick, and give to the needy. The second commandment is by Arkay, who said, to honor the earth, its creatures, the spirits, living and dead, to guard and tend the bounties of the mortal world, and not to profane the spirits of the dead. The third commandment by Mara says to live soberly and peacefully, honor your parents, and preserve the peace and security of home and family. The fourth commandment from Zenithar is to work hard so that you can be fairly rewarded. Spend wisely so that you can be comfortable. Never steal to avoid punishment. Talos gives us the fifth commandment, to be strong in war, to be bold against enemies and evil, and defend the people of Tamriel. Kynareth says to use nature's gifts wisely, respect her power, and fear her fury. The seventh commandment from Dibella, open your heart and be open to the noble secrets of art and love. Treasure the gifts of friendship. Seek joy and inspiration in the mysteries of love. The eighth commandment from Julianos, know the truth, observe the law. When in doubt, seek wisdom from the wise. The ninth commandment from Akatosh, serve and obey your emperor. Study the covenants, worship the 9, do your duty, and heed the commands of the saints and priests. And the 9 say, above all else, the 10th commandment is to be good to one another. It is a thoughtful group of commandments, an interesting assortment of things to show up in a video game, and I'm sure that we could apply those in our lives. To be kind to people, you know, we struggle with that, don't we? To be kind and generous. You know, I was watching a TED Talk the other day about generosity and leadership. And, you know, sometimes we think about ourselves first, and then we think about the needs of the business or the needs of others we work with second. Sometimes the best way to be kind and generous is just to tell the truth. Doesn't always mean that you tell people what they want to hear either. Sometimes it's about telling people what they don't want to hear. There's so many times in life where we feel like we need to sugarcoat things. We want to avoid confrontation. We try to see if there's a way around something that seems inconvenient or, you know, not easy to do, you know. We don't want to have to tell people what they don't want to hear. And so as a result, we sometimes don't cross bridges until it's too late, you know? I think life is filled with opportunities for us to be generous by putting our ego second. And sometimes that means by not saying things that are hurtful. But it also sometimes is by saying things which other people may not like, and we don't want the confrontation, but it's better to face that now than later. Don't put off doing the right thing. We talk about honoring the earth, its creatures, and spirits living and dead. And, you know, I guess it all comes down to balance and harmony, and that sense of doing what will do no harm, having balance in the way we live our lives, you know? Like, do we take more than we give? Or are we the sort of people who, you know, consume modestly? I think that there's a lot of opportunity in our lives to enjoy our lives fully without necessarily being extremely lavish in the way we consume. You know, why is there an obesity epidemic in the United States? Is it sometimes maybe partly because we're greedy all the time? Like, we're always over consuming. We think that more is better all the time. We want to supersize everything. It's just never enough. You know, we are like living examples sometimes of that notion that enough will never be sufficient to someone for whom enough is too little. And that's kind of just the way we live our lives. Nothing is ever enough. And so we don't honor the earth. We don't honor balance in life because we're too busy trying to consume as much as possible, consume as much content as possible, consume as much food as possible, consume as much success. We want to, you know, get ahead as much as we possibly can. And that desire to get ahead puts us on this never-ending treadmill that doesn't really honor anything. It doesn't honor the past. It doesn't help us get to a better future. It doesn't honor our legacy today. And it doesn't do honor to those who've gone before us either. Sometimes that's all about stopping and smelling the roses. It's about being able to see the beauty in life without needing to expect life to be something more than what it is. Preserving peace and security in home and with family. You know, I think about the relationships we have and the struggles that we face sometimes in life. And, you know, I think there's so many times where we pick the wrong battles. Like, sometimes, like, you don't need to fight with people over everything. There's little things. They feel like they're a sling or an arrow that hits you and you get frustrated. But does it really matter? Not really. I mean, could you just let some things go and not even give it any further thought? Many times in life, I think you absolutely could. We think that our ego is so important and every hill is one we have to die on. Sometimes it's better to just let little things be little things. Don't worry about them so much. It's not the end of the world. To be strong in war, to be bold against enemies and evil. You know, I think about how in our lives, for the greater part, we probably aren't serving on the battlefield. Like, we're probably not in any kind of war, like not, you know, shooting wars. So what is the opportunity that we have to be strong? Well, it's to face those moments when it'd be easier to maybe hide our head in the sand and not face the reality of something, or maybe to be you know, less than honest about things, or to let something that we feel is wrong kind of be swept under the rug because it feels like it's easier to not say anything than it is to stand up for someone who needs an advocate, or to you know, maybe put ourselves on the line and risk something if we can you know, serve someone else, and maybe we have to put ourselves a little bit at risk to do that. I think those are the kinds of things that we can do to maybe be strong, because quite often in life there's not a need for us to, you know, to go out there and you know, defeat enemies with a sword or something. It's more, do we have the courage and the strength to do what's right when doing what's right isn't particularly easy? Maybe it's something as simple as having the ability to, you know, don't gossip about somebody when you have the opportunity to do it, and it would feel good to do it, but you know it's not really the best thing to do. Respecting nature's gifts. You know, life always gives us enough, I think. It's when we overconsume that we get ourselves in trouble. I've been focusing on trying to minimize how much stuff I have in life, and I realize even after I've cut out a lot of unnecessary things, I still find I've got a lot of stuff I can, you know, take to the Goodwill that I don't probably use or don't probably need. So live a simple life. It can help a lot with your peace of mind. The secrets of art and love, inspiration in their mysteries. We've talked about this in other videos, but I think it's super true that we focus so much on metrics. You know, we focus on trying to see if we can get the next promotion. We're focused on seeing if we can prove ourselves in some way. We're focused on trying to see if we can get our bank account to be a little more healthy, or if we can get some sort of investment gains, or whatever it might be. We're always chasing something because it feels like it has some kind of intrinsic value, that if we can win this particular thing, we will be better off. But what about all of the things that add value to life, but you can't necessarily see their value on a ledger anywhere? Those are the things that we should cherish, perhaps above all, because the greatest things that have meaning in life are often the things that don't have a monetary value. Know the truth, observe the law, seek wisdom from the wise. I love that notion of seeking wisdom from the wise. So often we wind up throwing stones at the people who we believe to be foolish, instead of seeking wisdom from the people we believe to be wise. But if you surround yourself with people who you believe are maybe in some ways better than you are, you're more likely to drift in their direction. And I think that's something that we should always try to do. You know, surround yourself with people who you respect, and spend your time seeking to do things that you love, because that's how you grow and you develop in a better direction. Too often we wind up just staying in places that we feel aren't helping us to grow, and then we kind of, maybe we slander or throw stones at those things or people who we disagree with, but we still stay in their orbit. And what is the point of it? Like, why continue to stick around if someone is not helping you to grow? Why not surround yourself with people who inspire you to be the best version of yourself? Study the covenants, do your duty, heed the commands of the saints and priests. Well, you know, there are people who've gone before us, and sometimes we want to find all the answers ourselves, but I think there's a lot of value in realizing that life is, you know, life is best not lived as an island. So if you feel like you're lost, maybe reach out. Don't try to answer every problem by yourself. Sometimes we need to leave the echo chamber. Stop surrounding yourself with people who agree with you, and surrounding yourself with familiar things that don't challenge you in any way, and surrounding yourselves with things that validate positions that you already have. Start seeking to diversify your thought, diversify your opinion. Invite things that will make you think about life differently, because chances are, whatever it is on your mind, whatever it is going on that makes you feel a sense of worry or question, you're not the first person who's gone through that. It's kind of like if you ever have been doing something, maybe trying to play a game and you get stuck, or trying to do something and you don't know how to do it. You go to YouTube and you search the thing you're trying to find an answer to, and surprisingly, usually somebody else has already experienced it. Somebody else has already done a walkthrough. Somebody else has already come up with an answer for what it is that you need help with. And that's, you know, that's kind of meaningful, right? Like knowing you don't have to find an answer to every single problem you have yourself alone. You can find others who will help you along the way. And finally, above all else, be good to one another. And I think that that's the big one, right? You know, do what you will, but do no harm to anyone. And that's the challenge. We tend to sometimes allow ourselves the seeming luxury of doing things that ultimately do not help others. And instead they do more harm than good. Maybe it feeds our ego, but it doesn't enrich our soul. Those things are the things that we should try our best to remove from our lives. Stop doing things that are negative. Stop doing things that are harmful to others. Stop doing things that give you a laugh at someone else's expense. And instead, focus on things that, that edify, things that make your life better by helping other people to live a better life too. The more we can focus on letting go of passively negative things and embracing things that do good in people's lives, the better off our lives will be too. So, just a few commandments for the followers of fictional video game deities, but I guess it's all stuff we could probably apply in our real lives too. In any case, wherever you find yourself, good luck on your adventure. Until next time, thanks so much for watching.